Here is a short article that I wrote some time ago, going over some of the highlights of the Conversations with God books written by Neale Donald Walsch. One night, Neale Donald Walsch felt suicidal. His relationship with his partner had broken down, and he truly felt that life was no longer worth living. In an attempt to work through his feelings, he picked up a notepad and pen, and he started writing to God. Now he wrote it all down, his pain, his frustration, his anger, and finally he asked, "My God, what do you want from me?" He was about to put down the pen and paper, but something stopped him, and it was then that he heard the voiceless voice. It began as a whispering in his right ear, and he felt a wonderful sense of calm come over him. The voiceless voice said, "Do you really want to know the answers, or are you just venting?" And he replied, "I am just venting, but if you have the answers, I'd really like to hear them." And so it began, a remarkable and wonderful conversation with God. There were so many topics covered during that conversation that I couldn't hope to touch upon them all in this brief article. However, to whet your appetite, I have selected a few of the concepts discussed that night, which I believe will help you in your own journey. One of the main teachings Neale learned that night was a very simple concept, namely that we are all one. There's no you and me, for that would imply that we were separate. That would imply that we were different. That would imply that one of us might be better than the other. We are two parts of the same thing. And when you grasp this fundamental truth, your whole viewpoint undergoes a dramatic change. You realise that what you do for another, you do for yourself. You realise that what you give to another, you give to yourself. And when you walk into a room, whether it's full of people or empty, you need to understand that there is only one person in the room. Now, to help clarify this, I'll repeat an extract from Neale's conversation. "In the beginning there was all that is, and all that there is was all that there was, and there was nothing else. There was nothing else except all that there is, and it was very good. But all that there was, and there was nothing else, sought to know itself in its own experience, but it could find nothing outside of itself, because there was nothing outside of itself. How then to know itself? So that which we call God looked within in order to know itself, and God saw the magnificence of that for which it searched, and it imploded into billions of different parts, going here and there, up and down, left and right, fast and slow, big and small. These were all suddenly created in that first thought that produced God in all its elements, and each of the elements of God could look back at the rest and say, 'Oh my God, how wondrous thou art.'" If we want to experience true abundance in our lives, we too should go within. If we do not go within, we will have to go without. Another of the teachings Neale received that night reveals how powerful we all are. We've each of us been given all the tools necessary to create the life we want to experience. Unfortunately, most of us do not realise we have these tools, or indeed how to use them. We've all been given 3 tools. The first is our thoughts, the second our speech, and the third our actions. And everything you think, say or do produces an energy vibration. Your thoughts, words and deeds are pure energy with the power of creation. The lightest form of energy is thought, and this means it will take an awful lot of thought about something to make it so. The more time you spend thinking about something, the more likely it is to occur. So therefore, if you have a negative thought, you would be wise not to give it a second thought. A slightly denser form of energy is speech. As you speak, so will it be done. And every word you utter out of your mouth is released as energy into the cosmos and eventually takes form. If you say something often enough and long enough, it will come to pass. And when 2 or more people say the same thing, I assure you it will happen. And when a group of people all say the same thing, then it must come to pass. And that is why the world is as it appears today. The densest form of energy creation is through action. This energy is very heavy and very real, and even the slightest touch can create magic. Therefore, the most visible and immediate results can be achieved through taking concrete action. Most of the time we think about doing something, then we talk about doing it, and then we actually do it. This is a very time-consuming process, and if we want to speed things up, we must turn it on its head. Take, for example, the idea that we would like some more money. Most of the time we go around thinking we do not have enough money. We tell everyone, we're so broke this month. We count our pennies and deny ourselves the things we want to buy because we know we have not got enough money. What you should do is start behaving as if you had plenty of money. And by doing this, you send out a message to the universe which says, see, I have so much money I can give it away. I can spend it without a moment's worry. And the universe then kindly makes it so. The universe never says no to your thoughts about yourself. It only grows them. If you want to experience abundance, you must help someone else experience abundance. If you want to feel loved, you must help someone else feel loved. You must become the source of that which you desire. You must become resourceful. No matter how poor you think you are, you will always be able to find someone with less. And the reason you'll always be able to find someone with less is that your soul will create them in your life in order for you to experience helping them. And you must never feel pity for anyone, and you must never act out of pity. Your actions should be carried out from love, compassion, and empathy. You must realize that this poor soul who stands before you has forgotten who and what they are. But you have not, and you should recognize in them their magnificence, and you should reach out to them with kindness and compassion in order that they might remember also. And it is at this point you should remind yourself there is only one person in the room. We are all so confused when it comes to the subject of money. We think of it as mine or yours, and we fail to realize it is simply a form of lubrication which empowers us to be, do, and have something we want in our life. Money should not be saved for a rainy day. It should be kept in motion. I give it to you, someone else gives it back to me, I give it to another, and in this way we all move forward. Think of money as a gift to you from the universe to do every good thing for yourself and others that you would want to. We spend so much of our money on nonsense, and yet when someone rattles a charity can at us in the supermarket, we think we're being generous if we give them £1. Why not give them £10? Or get out your chequebook and write a cheque for 100. If there is some aspect of your life which actually does make sense to you, then for God's sake support it. If you agree with what someone is trying to do, then help them do it. And remember, the quickest and most immediate way to change the world is through concrete action. I strongly recommend that you read the Conversation with God books 1, 2 and 3, or some of the other works of Neale Donald Walsch to take this conversation further. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. God bless.